Today we're going to be reviewing for inequalities when we were doing adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, two-step inequalities and variables on both sides, and some special situations where we end up with contradictions or all real numbers. So in this inequality, can you write the expression that represents this inequality? Now, most students score far better if they put the variable first. So if you write the variable first, and then you leave space for the symbol and leave the number at the end. So now we have to decide at 4, is this an open or closed circle? And because it's open, we are not going to have the line underneath it. And which way are we shading? The numbers keep getting smaller, 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 so we want a less than symbol in here. So in this problem right here, we're going to get x all by itself. Draw a line down. Remember, whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other side. And so because this says x minus 9, we are going to add 9 to both sides. Leave the symbol exactly like it is, so greater than or equal to, and negative 3 plus 9 is 6. So now we're going to have an open or a closed circle here at 6. And because we have a line underneath it, we're going to have a closed circle. And remember, we always read inequalities from the inequality from the letter. So any number is greater than 6. Our numbers get greater to the right. All right, this says x divided by a negative 6. What's the opposite of dividing? The opposite of dividing is multiplying. So we're going to multiply both sides by a negative 6. Here our 6's cancel out. So we have x. And when we multiply by a negative number, we have to remember to flip that sign. And then we get a negative 30. Open or closed circle at negative 30. Because we don't have a line underneath it, it's open. And we read this any number less than and less than goes to the left. All right, this time they switched it up and put the letter on the left, so we are on the right-hand side, so we have to make sure we pay attention to that. And this says 5 times x, the opposite of times, is divide. So we're going to divide both sides by 5. So 4, we divided by a positive number, so I'm going to leave the symbol the same. Now, as far as graphing goes, we know that we are going to go over here, and at 4 we're going to have an open circle because there's no line underneath it. Now you can read it from the x and say any number is less than, but I highly recommend that you just rewrite it. So you put your letter first. This is pointing towards the x. The point is at the x. And then we have a 4. Now read it. That says any number less than 4. So we're going to go this way. Jumping around on me today. All right. So here we got a couple x's. We've got an x here and an x here, and they are on the same side. So I'm just going to do combine like terms. And that says 5x plus x. And remember, there's a 1 in front of the other one. So we have a 6x plus 7. And just leave the symbol the same. So now we need to move that 7 away here. And 43 minus 7 is going to be 36 here. So we have, this is going to cancel out. And we have 6x is less than or equal to 36. We just add and subtracted, so there's no flipping of the sign. Divide both sides by 6. So we have any number less than or equal to 6. So when we graph this, we are going to have a closed circle at 6 this time because it has the line underneath it saying equal to and any number less than, so we go to the left. All right, here's another two-step inequality. So it looks like we're going to have to move that -2 away first. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So I have -3x is greater than or equal to, and 13 plus 2 is going to give us 15. Now that says -3 times x, so the opposite of times is divide. So we're going to divide both sides by -3. These 3's are going to cancel, so we have x. Now what did we divide by? We divided by a negative number. So when you divide by a negative number, you have to remember to flip your sign. So 15 divided by -3 is going to give us a -5. So when we are graphing this, we're going to have an a closed. There's a line underneath here. Because of the line, so we're equal to, we're going to have a closed circle at -5. And it says any number is less than or equal to -5. So we're going to shade to the left. All right, we've got variables on both sides this time, so we're going to get our letters together. So I am going to subtract 4x from both sides. 7x minus 4x is 3x. Leave the symbol the same because all we did was add and subtract. And then we have a -12 because 4 minus 4 is 0. Divide both sides by 3. So x is greater than or equal to -4. I did not flip my sign because I divided by a positive 3. So this is greater than or equal to, so I'm going to have a closed circle here at 4, and that says any number is greater than -4, and greater goes to the right. All right, looks like we have the distributive property here. So I'm going to take -5 times x and -5 times 4. Negative times a positive is a negative. Now, all I did was a distributive property. I did not do something to both sides, so I do not flip my sign. Now, to get x by itself, I'm going to add 20 to both sides. So it looks like this is going to cancel out. We have -5x. I added, so there's no flipping of my sign. Now, -5 times x, the opposite of times, is divide. So we're going to divide by a -5. I am dividing by a negative number, so I'm going to flip my sign. And 45 divided by -5 is going to be a -9. So when we graph this, we have the line underneath because it's equal to. So we're going to shade this in, and we're going to graph it to the left because it says any number less than -9. Any number less than -9, so we shade to the left. All right, looks like we've got double distributive property this time. So we're going to take 2 times 1 and 2 times a -x. So we have -2x. Okay, this is just the distributive property, so we are not going to be flipping our sign. -2 times 1 is a -2. And a -2 times x is a -2x. Okay, now I like to get my letters together here. So this is a -2x. I'm going to add 2x, add 2x. So what I'm left with is 2. -2 plus 2 cancels out. I'm just adding, so I'm going to leave my sign the same. Now I have a -2. -2 plus 2, 0. All right, so now our x's are gone. So we end up with is 2 greater than -2? This is a true statement. And because this is true, our answer is going to be all real numbers. It's one of those special situations or cases where the letters cancel out and we are left with 2 greater than -2. That is true. All right, this is your review for inequalities. Review for inequalities. Now you can go ahead and try your assignment. Good luck and have a wonderful day.